So, with shame and codependency, shame can make us feel that we always have to put someone else's needs first because it validates inside of us the I am a good person, look what I did for someone else. Because as we know, shame tells us we're unworthy. But shame is what makes it possible for us to sacrifice self in codependency with that self love deficit. So, things like caretaking and caretaking can be defined, it can be defined in a lot of ways. One of the ways I like to define it is by that it's doing things for others that they can do for themselves. We are seeking validation by doing things for other people. Um, and it can make a survivor, a trauma survivor, feel compelled to help take over and try to control a situation. We can feel responsible for other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Somebody says, "Oh, I'm really mad, blah, 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 about X, Y, and Z," and it really has nothing to do with us. And the typical disempowered, codependent, self-love deficit person will be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh, what can I do to make you feel better? Blah, blah, blah." And this may be going on internally, and then they express it. And then what happens over and over again is that we will start to sacrifice ourselves because this is what we learned during those attachment years. Sacrifice over and over again. So maybe we don't want to go somewhere and do something with someone, but we say yes because we want to be accepted and loved and cared for by them and see it's they are showing me love by inviting me along, right? Um, and maybe the other person is somewhat dysfunctional, but we go anyway, right? And then we try to take over and control when it doesn't go the way that we think it should go. Just remembering though that codependency, self-love deficit, this is a setup because we can't control other people's reactions or the emotions that live in their bodies. Emotions start in the brain, they go down into the body, they're somatic, so they're like data. And I talk about this in a lot of the videos because it's so important to have an understanding of what emotional health looks like and how emotions pendulate. We will run the gamut of emotions. And even the ones that feel uncomfortable, like grief and sadness and anger, are so valuable. And yet we demonize and vilify them because they don't feel good. Like all emotions, shame is the master emotion and it happens all the time in us. It rises up and we may not put that label on it, but it is that, the evolutionary purpose of shame is to keep us safe. Shame is inherently protective, right? And it's proactive and reactive. For in codependency, it lingers often beneath our consciousness, so this is subconscious, and it can lead to painful feelings and problematic behavior, so as internalized toxic shame, a lot of survivors believe that how they see themselves through that shame lens is the reality of who they are. But like I said, shame is not based in reality, it's based in protection. So when we have codependency, self love deficit, we honestly, at our core, don't believe we are worthy of love, respect, or happiness. And we don't believe that because of the toxic shame brought forth from childhood. So, for codependence, it can lead to control, caretaking, and dysfunction. Um, Non assertive communication, such as passive aggressive, right? And then I'm not really going to go deep into this today, but the shame reactions of attack self and deny. We can have potential fawning, pleasing, and appeasing, right? So, shame and codependency, self love deficit underlines the fears and anxiety that create that make relationship dynamics challenging, particularly in intimate partner situations. Professionally, this can sabotage us at work. We can have that self sabotage, right? And we aren't willing to put ourselves out there because we can't know that we're going to do a good job, that we're going to get the promotion. It's too scary. It's too frightening to do that. Um, Shame keeps us small and silent to protect us. We may not be assertive. We may not be able to speak our truth. When it comes down to it, we may take the blame for situations professionally when it wasn't of our doing. It can inhibit us in a lot of ways professionally. Maybe we don't accept a job we want, or we might not try for that promotion. Codependents may also blame themselves in overtaking responsibility, right, for any mistake or misunderstanding, meanwhile apologizing over and over to avoid someone being angry with them. There's a lot of avoidance in the codependency self-love deficit arena. Making a mistake is the worst experience because we don't have a foundation of where we can go back to self-compassion and say, hey, it's okay that I made a mistake. I'm human. I do that. This is a great learning opportunity. When we have toxic pervasive shame, we can't do that. We also can be fearful to get close to other people, right? Because they don't believe, I don't believe I'm worthy of this love, right? Or if they truly knew me, they fear that codependency, that we fear that we would be disappointing the other person.